All right, let's just jump right in. Picture this. The year is 2035. Artificial superintelligence, or ASI. I mean, we're talking AI that's smarter than us in like every possible way. It's here. And of course, the headlines are going crazy, right? Mass job loss, the end of work. But what if that's not the real story? What if losing your job is actually the start of something way, way better? Today, we're going to dig into a pretty wild idea from our source material, the idea that we're not collapsing. We're on the brink of a great liberation. So let me ask you, and be honest, are you worried AI is coming for your job? I mean, it's the question on pretty much everyone's mind. And what's interesting is that the source for this explainer, it really zeroes in on people in their 50s, 60s, even their 70s. People who spent their whole lives building a career. And now suddenly, the future looks totally unrecognizable. And yeah, that's a terrifying thought, no doubt about it. But the source, it wants us to look at this from a completely different angle. And boom, there it is. That one quote just completely flips the script on the whole thing. It's not the end of civilization. It's the start of a forced, paid vacation. Think about that. Not a tragedy, but a liberation. This single, powerful idea, well, it's the foundation for everything we're about to get into. It basically forces us to question everything we think we know about work and what it means to have value in society. Okay, so, the Great Liberation. I know what you're thinking. How on earth can losing your job be a good thing? Well, let's get into the philosophy behind this. To really get it, you kind of have to take everything you believe about the economy, about your role in it, and just turn it completely on its head. And this slide really lays it all out, doesn't it? It puts the old way of thinking right next to this new idea. So on one side, you've got everything we've been taught to fear. Job loss is a tragedy, the economy is going to collapse, we're losing our purpose. But then, look at the other side. The source's view is that job loss is a graduation. The economy isn't collapsing, humanity is being set free. And we're not losing our purpose. We're finally getting the chance to find our real purpose, something that goes way beyond just collecting a paycheck. And this right here, this is the core of the whole argument. The source is basically saying that this whole system, working jobs we don't even like just to pay the bills, that was never supposed to be the end goal for humanity. It was just a phase, an anomaly. The real problem all along was being forced to trade our precious time just to survive. And now AI, well, it's just the tool that's finally breaking us out of that trap. Okay, but here's the giant blinking question mark in the room, right? You're probably thinking, wait a minute. If corporations use AI to make everything, but nobody has a job, then who has money to buy anything? It sounds like the whole system would just grind to a halt, a total economic collapse. And you're right to ask that. But here's the clever part. The source argues that the solution is actually baked right into the problem itself. And this is the punchline. This isn't about being nice. It's not about politics or some kind of social program. According to the source, it's just cold, hard math. For the corporations to have customers, for the economy to not just completely implode, money has to get into people's hands. It stops being an option and becomes a mathematical necessity, a safety mechanism to keep the whole machine running. So, if we accept that distributing money becomes basically mandatory, what does that actually look like in the real world? Well, the source has a name for it, AI dividends. And this is the engine that's supposed to power this whole massive shift. This is what fuels that 9-year paid vacation into a completely new way of living. Now, let's be super clear about what this means. This is not the same as universal basic income, the way you hear politicians talk about it. The source frames this as a purely economic thing. A better way to think about it is, it's like a mandatory software update. The economy's old operating system is obsolete, and now it's running on ASI. AI dividends are just the patch you need to make sure the whole thing doesn't crash. And this next part is maybe the most important mindset shift of all. The source is crystal clear on this. This money, it's not a handout. It is not charity. It's something you are owed. It's your rightful reward. Which, of course, leads to the question, a reward for what exactly? Well, think about it. Every single time you've used the internet, every Google search, every photo you've tagged, every conversation you've had online, all of that data was used to train these incredible AIs. Your life, your knowledge, your energy, you were the raw material. So in this view, the AI dividends aren't a gift. They're just back pay. It's your rightful share of the unbelievable wealth that you helped to create. All right, so the theory is pretty wild and honestly kind of compelling, but it's one thing to talk about it and another thing to live through it. So, how do we actually navigate this unbelievable change? Well, the source lays out a kind of survival guide for us. It comes down to three key mindsets we need to start adopting like right now. So let's go through them. Step one, let go of the sinking ship. Stop fighting to save jobs in industries that are just on their way out. The source says we need to see this moment as a rescue boat arriving, not our ship going down. Step two, specialize in your humanity. This is huge. Double down on the things AI can't do: warmth, empathy, real connection. That becomes your new job, your invaluable skill. And finally, step three, return to community. The source argues your ultimate insurance policy isn't money in the bank, it's the people around you, your neighbors, your friends. Building those small local support networks is what's really going to get you through. So if you take away just one thing, let it be this. In a world full of artificial superintelligence, your value doesn't come from trying to compete with the machines. You'll lose. Your value comes from being more human. Your ability to connect with people, to show empathy, to create, to care. That is your superpower now. So, we've looked at the what, the why, and the how. We've seen the scary, dystopian version of the future, and we've seen this incredibly optimistic alternative. And according to the source, the future isn't something that's just going to happen to us. It's something that's presenting us with a choice, a really fundamental choice about who we want to be. And really, that's the heart of it all. This isn't about losing something. It's an invitation. It's an invitation to finally separate your self-worth from your job title. To ask yourself that question you maybe haven't had time to ask. Who would I be? What would I do if I was totally free to choose? So the source we've been exploring ends on a really interesting note. It suggests this isn't just something to sit back and watch happen. It's a shift in consciousness that you can actively join. So if this idea resonates with you, if you're ready to embrace this new perspective, not as an end, but as a brand new beginning, the source makes a final suggestion. If you are ready to accept this liberation, type "I claim my freedom" in the comments and like this video to sync your consciousness with the future.